y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beyside Jewel. And I hope you guys are doing well, holding it down wherever you are. Yeah, I thought I'd get on here and talk about the big deal. The Epstein files are about to be released. So I just wanted to get on here and put my 2 cents in here. I've been seeing so much of it, about it over here on the news. And I actually have some questions. If anybody else wonder if anybody else may have some of the same questions. First of all, whatever happened to the Pizzagate? Do you remember that? When this Jeffrey Epstein came out, man, we forgot all about the Pizzagate. That, from what I was seeing, was worse than this Epstein, I mean, the things that I was hearing about this Pizzagate, man, that's what should be exposed, for real. And who's to say that it still won't? Everything that's in the dark will eventually come out to the light, especially in this day and age. But yeah, on this Epstein thing, man, I'm just, I've seen the victims, I've seen them do interviews over here, and many of them are actually holding up photos of themselves when they were, young, 14, 15, 16, 17, when they were young. They were holding up their portrait, And, but I never heard any of them, say, how did they get there? How did they get to Jeffrey Epstein's island? I think I heard one victim. I think her name is Virginia. She's no longer here on the planet. But she was the one that exposed Prince Andrew. As a matter of fact, she was writing a book, a tell-all book, about this, and all of a sudden she ends up, deleting herself. That's what they say. She deleted herself. Suicide. And the funny thing about that is they say she took a settlement out of court with Prince Andrew for millions. So he paid her, but then after he paid her, she conveniently suicides herself. It don't make sense to me. Why would a girl, been through so much and she settles out of court for, millions, and then she turns around and she suicides herself? That don't sound right to me. But anyway, another thing is, where were these girls' parents, man? I seen them on the interview, but it seemed like, their families, their, mom and dads or somebody would be, there with them, so grateful that, this is finally being exposed, that they would be supporting their daughter, but you don't see any parents supporting their daughters, They're all just kind of standing up there supporting each other, And also, from what I was hearing, even in regards to this Epstein, there were also boys involved, right? That's what I heard. I guess it must not be true, but who's to say? Wait till this list gets exposed, But there was supposed to be, from what I heard, there were even boys involved, where you can fly to the island and you can pick out whatever girl or boy you want. That's what I heard. But all this stuff is going to come out. And another thing is this: what puzzles me is, now they're saying that President Trump had the authority to just open the files. Make them available, open the files. So I'm wondering, how come he didn't do that? Why is he going through these procedures that, you got to go to the Senate, and you got to have a vote, you got to go to the Senate, and then it comes on his desk, and they still have 30 days to release the files. It would have been quicker if he just had just released them himself, with him having that authority to do so. Another thing is, did these girls that was on the island, that are women now, did they have cell phones, or were they tied up? Was they roped and tied up? I mean, I like to know the details of this shit. I get it, you're stranded on an island, but you mean to tell me you were not able to make a phone call? Did they tie you up? Did they lock you up? I mean, really. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to point out anything. Truly, these girls are victims, They, first of all, were underage, so that's a crime. It's against the law, and it's obvious that they were manipulated, at such a young, tender age. They were obviously manipulated. But I got to say this, these girls, a lot of them, they were promised big dreams, They were promised different things, being supermodels, being in movies, and being able to do this and do that, And can you imagine? And then they meet all these celebrities, these elites. They probably felt some type of way, like they're on their way up, And who's to say that, their parents didn't know about this? Who's to say that? Because, I'm looking at, how a lot of teenagers are. They don't like to listen to their parents. They don't like to listen to their parents. And you say blue and they say green. You say don't do that, and they turn around and do just that. So, where were these parents in their lives? Did their parents warn them about, this kind of stuff, being able to happen? Or, I know they had somebody guiding them. They just didn't mysteriously disappear without their own free will. I don't think so. Maybe they did. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, because you could talk a young female. You can talk her into doing some things. You're gonna make it big in Hollywood and this and that. You're gonna make lots of money and this and that. So you can coerce them. To basically get them to do what you want them to do. And probably when they were meeting celebrities, and elites, they probably thought they were on their way. They were on their way to success. I mean, so now they want to use the other side and say, we were victims. Well, yeah, you were victim, but you were manipulated, and you probably was hard-headed, didn't want to listen to somebody. And these are the consequences that happen when you don't listen to, your parents, or, and you're at such a young age, I've seen many times where kids think they know more than their damn parents. I've seen that before. So I'm just trying to figure out how did this situation happen, you know? I know the one girl, Victoria, she actually said that she got a job working for President Trump. He wasn't president at that time. But she said she had gotten a job working there, and from there she ended up meeting that, Maxine Epstein, and then she went on to meet the prince. So she's the one who brung down the prince. She got money from him because she was, threatening him to take his ass to court. But she got money from him. She got paid from him, and she was writing a book. And, but her book still got out, but they said she suicided herself. It's just a big mess, you guys. But a lot of this pedophilia shit been going on for a very long time. It's just coming to the surface where, people are more aware of it now. But yeah, very long time they have been manipulating these young folks, and in this particular case, I would like to know, were these young ladies abducted? Were they drugged? Were they beat? Did they willingly go to this island? Maybe some of them willingly went to the island. They just didn't know that they were not going to be able to come back. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But anyway, I know that, young teenagers, man, can be difficult. And parents can be telling them to do the right thing. But to them, that's not what they want to do. So they go and do what they want to do any damn way. And then a lot of times they bump their heads, and then that's when they find out the parents were right. Yeah, but I was watching these ladies interview, and I didn't even see any of the parents there with them. It's like for support. And as far as support, what they did have was that lady Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was there supporting them. Now the thing about her that I do like, is that right away, immediately, even though she's she's a mega, but she wanted this stuff out in the opening right away, and her name was on a list to vote to have this shit exposed. And President Trump wanted her to take her name off that list, to not have it exposed. And that puzzles me too. But anyway, she's no, I'm not taking my name off the list. I want it exposed, So because she did that, now President Trump calls her a traitor, which I don't feel like she was a traitor. I feel like she was, she was on their side trying to bring this shit to the light, and it was something that was right, So why did President Trump did not want this to come out right away? And why didn't he go and just sign the bill for it to be open? Because he didn't have to go to, Senate, Congress, none of that shit. He could have directly went. This is what they're saying now. He could have directly went and signed the bill to have that shit released. So those are some questions, but President Trump has said, even Marjorie Taylor Greene said, when they opened all those emails that there was nothing in there that indicate any wrongdoing for President Trump. As a matter of fact, there were more praises for President Trump in those emails than anything, you know? So that's another one that puzzles me. So all these good words about President Trump, so why didn't he want to, immediately just open these files? Now, I've heard Trump say Epstein was paying the elite Democrats. He was paying all of them, the Democrats. That's what Trump says, And when these files get opened, there's supposed to be a great number of elite people that are Democratic. So a lot of them were getting paid from Epstein. So this thing is a mess. It's a mess. But anyway, I just thought I'd tap in on that because, I got some confusing shit off up in there, to say the least, right? Why wouldn't President Trump want to, open this shit right away? He know he's clean, And according to the emails, I've seen some of the emails. Some of the victims say Trump was they met Trump and he was very pleasant. He didn't do any wrong. I've seen them say that. So I think this, this thing here is kind of tricky. It's like my uncle, Shake 'em Up, says. It's a nail biter. It's a nail biter. That's what Shake 'em Up says. It's a nail biter. What else can I say? So it's gonna be something to see, what's going on here. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these celebrities are in that list, but more so, not just their names. I would like the details of what they did. I don't want to hear about just the names. Okay, you say this name, what did they do? You said this, what did they do? I want to hear all the fucking details, man. Yeah, because these jokers, man, think they're, above the law and they rule the world and can do what the hell they want to do. And it's a fact they manipulated these young girls. Whether they probably didn't even realize they were being manipulated, talking about they were going to be top models, they were going to be on magazine covers, they were going to be doing movies, they were going to be doing, whatever they promised them. They manipulated these young girls. But the thing about it is now, see, I know probably some of them had some parents that was telling them, you don't need to do that, But they had stardom and they got in their damn eyeballs and in their head, they thought they were going to make it big and it didn't happen. So now they're just going to come back and expose everything and be the victim. And rightfully so, they are victims. They are victims, but I think that they're not, 100% innocent either. I think a lot of them, were caught up in stardom and, with all these pipe dreams that were promised to them. That's what I think. And I hope you guys don't beat me up for saying that. But that's what I think. Because I was just watching them on their interviews and they're all saying, we're victims, But were you saying that at the beginning, Were you saying that at the beginning, and did they drug you? Did they knock you out? Or did they just make promises to you and manipulate you and then abused you? And you found out that you were just being extorted, But, like my mom always used to tell me, hard head told a soft ass. Hard head told a soft ass. So, You don't believe fat meat is greasy until you get a taste of it. That it's actually pretty damn greasy, you know. But anyway, don't beat me up. This is just me bouncing off my ideas. And regards to this Epstein. But yeah, so that's all I got for you. Until the next time, you guys, I'm going to sign up out of this camp because we got some things to talk about. What's going on over here on this side of the planet. Okay? So I'll talk to you. Assalamu alaikum.